He's okay, here we are today. Sit up straight. Open up that spine. Lift it up tall. Close your eyes. Draw your attention in. Join the exhalation to your hearing. So you listen to that sound. And that sound becomes a particular syllable. And you follow that syllable. Listen for it everywhere. Join your palms. So there is a steady repetition of listening closely to that sound. Make that sound clear and penetrating. In this way, the mind and breath and body become synchronized. The flow of consciousness becomes smoothed. In this way, pay homage to this practice. Pay homage to that root teacher, Patanjali. Bow to this practice. Release your hands. Raise your head. Open your eyes. Gay, yes. I'm seeing the ceiling. Okay, just say it. So, everybody, now you need 2, possibly 3 bricks. Here's 2 bricks, way ahead. Here's a 3rd brick for my head. Now, we're going to do the Adho Mukha Virasana. That's this, but some of you, well, those who can sit comfortably, buttocks on heels, you want to stretch forward and still keep the hands elevated, if possible, quite high. And the arms go out and the head goes down. Now, the shoulders have to stay on your back. If they don't, if they push toward the floor, things get unpleasant. So you need to keep them lifted and stretching. This may mean you need support under your forehead to make it easy. Those who need bricks under the buttocks, blankets under the buttocks. Nobody does, so I'm happy. Now come up with the whole palm on those bricks. Furthermore, raise those bricks tall. Everybody now, because all of you were seated low enough, unless you have a shoulder injury, raise those bricks so they are standing at their tallest. And stretch the ribs and feel how the arm, shoulder blades, and back muscles are all lifted up to kind of the top surface of you. And the rib cage is like this barrel underneath that, right? And it breathes and opens toward the floor. So keep sorting, if you will, between this trunk that is like the fuselage of an airplane below that spinal muscle and shoulder muscle structure of your back. Now, carefully release the hands, come up sitting. Now, if you are stiff and have difficulty with this shoulder aspect of what I was just saying, if that brings you some discomfort or confusion, start your dog pose up higher than usual. And you want to lift the, how shall I say, this structure, which is the arm and the shoulder blade, relative to the trunk, is going up. The round rib cage is coming down, not up. Round rib cage down, shoulder girdle on the back, and the shoulder stays up and stretches to the palm. And as you go, that rib cage expands underneath. Okay, so you either do this on a chair if the shoulders are problematic to you, shoulders, neck. Otherwise, you do it in Adho Mukha Svanasana. It's the same thing, just more weight. So, Adho Mukha Svanasana, don't lift your spine up on top. Get the shoulder plate on your back and slide your rib cage out from underneath it backwards, expanding. Shoulders broad, shoulder blades broad. Keep the, whether on the floor, it's necessary that the palms press. On the chair, you have to exert force. So put your knuckles down on that chair seat, and that lifts the activity of the arm toward the top. So stay elevated with the arm and open and deeply open in that rib cage. Come out, rest. Now, who can do something like handstand, or you could do half handstand. And of course, the strategy is the same. Keep those shoulders on the back. Don't let the back come ahead, right? In between the shoulders. Get the rib cage forward and spread it. So if you're in a half handstand, the feet are on the wall about hip height. If you're going farther, the leg stretches up. Now, if you're doing less than that, you would either repeat what you have already done or go a bit deeper if you could, if the strength or injury permits. Perhaps you take a dog pose on less height, but still height. So I'm not sure what might be the issue, Chaya. So make sure you're far enough from the wall that this posture I'm describing can be done. Try, let me see. Oh, a proper measure, by the way, would be this. If you crouch in Adho Mukha Virasana, that's probably a pretty good measure for the fingers for a start. It makes you quite stable. Yes, Chaya, that was a good view of your spine there. Good. Yeah. So keep the back muscles spreading upward. Head down. Chest, side ribs, front ribs open. That barrel of the rib cage has to be spreading underneath that shoulder line. Good. Come out, rest. Okay. How was that? Okay. Trouble. Good. All right. So we're going to proceed and go toward Pincha Mayurasana. Nobody kicked up there. Everybody did a partial pose. So we're going to keep up with preparation or partial poses. Pincha Mayurasana. A brick. A strap. Use only the brick first, but adjust this strap before, in case you need it. Adjust it to, sorry. I'm twisting, never twist your strap. Says the person who just twisted her strap. Okay, so you keep that strap so it holds your arms at about shoulder width. Then discard it temporarily. Here is the drill. See this brick? I put it flat, and in preparation, I keep the palms holding the whole palm from the heel of the hand to the knuckles on this brick. And the forearms press that floor, and even the pinky finger reaches forward through the bones. So pressing and stretching forward. Keep your upper arms vertical. Let that barrel of the rib cage stay in front of the shoulders, and up you come. And push into the floor through the forearms. from your back and slide that barrel of the rib cage up toward your hips. Stretch your legs and stay there as long as you like. Keep the upper arms vertical, forearms pressing. Some of you are reaching. Come out for a second, please. Exhale, come out. So look for a second. It's sort of important, this piece of the picture. This bone should stay vertical. This bone. So when I press down, right, my shoulders stay forward, my trunk stays forward, shoulders stay back. I keep the upper arm vertical and I pivot on it to go up. What I see you doing, and this is potentially trouble in the shoulder, I see you pushing back like dog pose. Okay, that's potential trouble. So keep the arm vertical and go up. Don't go back. Do it again. Up, arm vertical, elbow shoulder width. Hold that brick. Take that spine toward the floor. And then as you come up off the knee, keep the upper arm vertical so that rib cage stays open in front. Lift up through the ribs. Walk your feet in. Walk in. Get as vertical in the trunk as you can. Pressing the forearms, reaching forward, stretching from the elbows to the hips as in as straight a line as possible. Come out. Rest. This is better. I know it is quite different in the shoulders than pressing back toward that dog pose diagonal. All right, so your next work. And we can mix things if you're feeling good. Here is the next thing that you would do with the legs. Let's just say same hand position. Watch this. I let that spine release. Here's another way of thinking about it. My teacher, Mary Dunn, may she rest in peace. Mary Dunn, many years ago, said, let this spine come in, let all this musculature of the trapezius and shoulder blades, let all of that musculature get soft. If you push the spine up, this gets stretched. You want it to be on your back like a flat plate. And it's now, that's my line, but Mary Dunn says, this has to be soft as you go up so that the shoulder socket has no constraint in its rotation. Nothing is taut. So don't push up. Okay. Think about that. Leg work. Okay. That's one thing. You can add this to turning your palms face up, pressing the forearms, keep the upper arm vertical, release all that tension of the back of the shoulder girdle, and then come up, spreading the rib cage underneath the shoulder girdle. Keep your palms face up. And if you can maintain the even pressure On those palms, thumb nails on the floor, raise one leg. Don't shift the weight from arm to arm. If you would do that, keep the body even. Stretch that lifting leg.
How are the hands supposed to be? Could you tell me again?
Palms
on the floor or
facing up on the floor. So
okay.
you had been holding the brick this way. Look, Gay.
Right.
The palm faces like so. So your thumbnail is on the floor and all your fingernails. Broad palm. Don't let the shoulders come forward of the elbows. Maintain an even downward push. Hips level. Once each side, then have a rest. So Pratima, shoulders are forward, move them back. Your shoulders were here, and they need to be at the vertical. So be careful of this. Much better. Okay. Now, some of you do headstand. Yes. Say if you do, hold a hand up. Even if it is 1 minute, 2 minutes. Do you work with, hold your hand up now, if you work with support like 2 chairs or a device? And who does not do headstand? Okay. But you do chaya preparation for headstand, yes? All right. So preparation shall be done. Or if you do ordinary headstand or with a device, take that headstand. I use a device. So my glasses don't stay on, so I'm not going to stay in this long. I will lose sight of you. But you want to go up in that headstand. Those who are doing preparation. Oh, if you're doing genuine headstand, you have to see that these shoulder rules are adhered to. Now, I'm not putting my head on the floor, but I'm acting like I am. These shoulders need to lift up the back and support that back. Okay. Shoulder girdle is lifted, forearms pressing. Gay, the angle of my view could be quite inadequate, but it looks like you need much more lift of the trapezius, as if you wanted to move that back shoulder up the wall, and it's going to come away from the wall coincidentally. But get that wrist part of the forearm pressing. the back body is a support in this pose. Including, as it happens, the back of the leg. Now, yeah, Vidya, if you have another round of this pose, another lift in this pose, work with a leg coming up also. That would be true for a chaya also if you've got one left, one effort left, take a leg up, one at a time. Because what this does is it increases the inversion in the circulatory system, which is healthy. Leg up high, leg up high. Now, out you come. Everybody keep those shoulders lifted, hips lifted. Come down carefully, rest your head. Okay, so we're gonna do some other things with this shoulder girdle on the back. You need 2 bricks. I'm going to move my prop here. You need 2 bricks, but not right away, soon. First, just a bare sticky mat. So I'm gonna lie prone and I'm gonna sort of pick up and walk my legs away from my ribs. I'm really gonna draw out this length and then stretch my legs out. Now what I'm gonna do is arrange my arms so that somehow I can, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna pull my rib cage away from the hips in the other direction. So I'm gonna slide this rib cage forward. Now, right here is the line of my sternum, and right here begins where my ribs come down, right? That V to the floating ribs. Here's the sternum. Here's the side of the rib cage. And when I go around and back, that's the bottom of the shoulder blades. Okay. Here's that strap. I'm just going to illustrate because obviously I'm wearing a dark shirt. This is the line I'm talking about. Okay. Cat problems. All right. So what I want to do is pull that line forward. Did you see that? It stretched forward. Let me see. I'm gonna spotlight me, I think. And how can I do this? Like, let me see, host. Oh, am I spotlighted to you? Am I
Yes.
spotlighted? Oh, excellent. Because I've got two gallery views, so I can't tell what's happening. All right. So those ribs come forward. Sorry, cat. Then with my palms kind of in this sort of right angle, I dig my shoulder blades down and move my ribs forward. I have to keep those float. If you have low back complications here, if your low back gets involved, do you see where this belt is? This is the line you move to the floor. Okay. Don't think with the low back, think with that belt line. Now what happens is your spine comes up like Bhujangasana. Take that belt line forward as if you're trying to make your sternum vertical. Don't use the low back. Keep the low back neutral. If the low back bothers you, press where my illustration shows, base of the shoulder blades straight to the base of the sternum to the floor. Then the next part of Bhujangasana, starting to straighten your arms and come up higher in the back bend, begins to be safer because the coiling is more consistent. So perhaps you can move your hands further back to create more lift, right? The hands come back, but that movement, when you get in trouble, go for that sternum upper rib cage coiling and see if you can come up higher. Go down, take a break, come up, set and reset. Do this 5-6 times. Keep the upper chest your frame of reference. If you have pain, give me a signal. Good. If you can go farther, this is the end of this version of the pose, so take your fullest expression of it. Now, Gay, I see the strap around the ribs. You come to just above that strap and move. Don't come out of the pose. Don't move the strap, just be above it. Just make the movement. You feel the strap in your back, just above that strap. Move toward the front chest and sternum. Strong shoulder girdle activity on the back body. That's what this is. If you feel it, you're pushing that shoulder girdle back and you moving the barrel of the chest forward. Okay, is this helpful? Is this not painful? I see you're doing it again, so might be okay. All right. So with or without the strap, I mean, the strap is just to give it to the cat. Now it's time either for 2 bricks or a chair. So if, again, you're working with an injury or more caution, more close observation is what I'd say, then you take a higher support to work from. Here's the high support from a chair. See, just like on the floor, you start being able to get position, okay, which is the barrel of the trunk coming forward and the shoulders going back, right? Not shoulders forward of the barrel or beside the barrel, but on the back, and the hands go to the chair. So keeping this, see how I'm placing my hands carefully. I straighten my elbows, keeping the barrel forward at least, and this is, you see below the sternum also forward right here. But as I stretch my legs, below the sternum may well stretch back, but I keep from the strap location, shoulder blades up, that stays forward. Okay, so that's the chair, upward facing dog. Bring that pelvis right up to the chair. Everybody see me kneeling there. So in this pose, my shoulders are behind and I straighten the arm, pushing through my feet so I keep position. And you see my chest stays forward. And as you stretch the legs back, any part of the spine can go with, except the sternum. Stretch your legs. Stretch your legs. They may well pull the pelvis lower back away from the chair, but keep your shoulder blades and those muscles on your back. And the ribs forward, armpits forward. It's better, Chaya, but those shoulders are poking forward. Move them back, move that arm bone back. Yeah. So you start like this, like you were the proudest pigeon in the universe. And now my feet press down. So you keep your pigeon chest and you stretch your legs away from your pigeon chest. Shoulders back. Very, very proud pigeon. I think that's a funny image, but you know, one of the back bend, several of the back bend poses are the pigeon king, right? The king pigeon. So a king has some pride. All right, the royal spirit anyway. All right. Do you want to try it on the floor? We have another back bend to do after this one. If you work on, excuse me, here. Oh, on chair. You could work on bricks on your knees. Let that spine come in and then arrange for it. You see, I even bend my elbows to let that pigeon chest come forward. My knees are bent. I'm doing everything to accommodate that top chest. Now, when I stretch my legs, I just keep the sternum forward and the legs stretch, the spine stretches, the lumbar stay long. Chest forward, shoulders back. Come out, rest. So you develop in upward facing dog this sense that, and if you were coming up from the floor, it'd be a similar thing. See how forward my chest is, my pigeon chest right here, and the hands are back. So when I'm peeling up, and you can peel up staying on bent knees or keeping the legs stretching. The point being, eventually these legs are going that way, away from this rib cage, and the rib cage is lifting away from the legs. Peel up, rib cage away, legs away, stretch your feet, stretch your legs. If your hands are too forward, you will push into the low back. If your hands are forward, you will push into the low back. If you keep your chest forward, you will stay out of the low back. Hands back toward the waist. Back toward the waist, gay, further back. Hands further back, gay. Yes. So that chest stays forward of the arms. Shoulder girdle on the back. Okay. Come out. Rest. Are you okay? You have not exceeded capacity. Okay. So, last back bend. You might want to put a blanket on the floor as a just padding for bones. This isn't going to be a stressful pose, but so face arms forward, at least for the moment. Okay, now it's about this lower part. I'm gonna bend the right leg, wake up this foot, and bring this heel as close to the buttock as I can, which means I've got to tighten that hamstring. All the while, this pelvis stays on the floor. Whatever you do with this leg can't raise up the pelvis. Keep this lumbar long, pelvis straight, bend your right knee, bring that heel in. Close as you can. Get a cramp. Notice where the cramp is. Outer hamstring, inner hamstring. Release, come out. Let that leg stretch straight. Make sure your kneecap is happy, then other leg. Wake up through the heel and the toes. Keep your pelvis level. Bring that heel absolutely as close as you can. Don't try to kick your buttock, try to touch your buttock and stay there. Tighten that heel. Tighten that hamstring. Get in there close and come back out. Now, you repeat with the, watch 1 second. You repeat with the right side. My head is down, but my shoulders go up. Shoulders go way to the back of me. And that right foot comes in and the right hand reaches out. And it should be able to catch that ankle. You do that, first one leg, then the other. Forehead on the floor. Lift your shoulders, coil that top chest and shoulder girdle. Don't fling your foot at your hand. Bring your foot to your hand. Reach your hand to your foot. Shoulder girdle on the back. Everybody got it. Good. Release, pelvis flat. Release, come out, change. Shoulder girdle. Roll it, tuck it. Keep your the sternum away from this very, very long abdomen. Then you cut forehead on the floor, but shoulders rolling. Left foot comes up, left hand catches. Keep the ribs level, hips level, shoulders level. And come out. And then do this very delicate grasp, 2 feet, 2 hands, forehead down, legs tightening, wide awake legs, roll those shoulders, heads on the floor, reach back, catch, if possible, simultaneously instead of first one, then the other. And release and come out and repeat. Catch as close in as you can. 2 legs, yes. Close, 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 pelvis down. Catch the ankles. Good. Now, release, watch. This is good. So what we did, right, was we woke up this upper part of the back and the shoulder girdle, right? Then we just woke up the legs, this lower part. So, and keeping the pelvis on the floor actually makes even the buttock have to wake up. It isn't just the hamstring down here, but it's also this back pelvis. So we're going to take this pose, and here's from the elbow to the hand, forearm, from the knee to the foot, the lower leg. Those 2 things are going to activate, right? This forearm stretches back and lifts my foot. My shin is stretching to my feet and lifting up. Keep your ribs forward. Keep your thighs long. Dhanurasana. See what you get. Okay, being flat. Raise those shoulders, reach your arms back, bend your knees, bring your feet forward, catch your ankles. Lengthen your thighs and shins, not coming up, just get long. Reach back from the chest through the arms. Now use those lower the limbs to lift up to the ceiling, and the upper arm and thigh lengthens away from the chest, away from the pelvis, long. So you make a giant circle. not a closed, cramped circle. That interior space in the Dhanurasana shape, the bow shape, that interior space has to grow.
Should your knees be
It's
together
not a
or apart?
limited space.
Should your knees be together or apart?
That's I get it. The formal answer is together. The answer that is more appropriate to a progression is the knees can go wide, but keep your feet wide also. And as opposed, instead of letting your feet come together and the knees go wide, keep your feet wide also. Okay?
Thank you.
And as the pose improves, both the legs and the feet will come together. But if you squeeze too soon, the low back is trouble.
Thank you.
Okay, move it's like Virasana. Take those feet wide as the knees. You'll feel it. Your back will be more comfortable. One last time. Lift that chest, lengthen the thighs. Yes, you see, Gabe, that gives your chest a bit more room there too. Yes, the whole pose, that space, that open, did it not?
Yes.
It did. Good. All right. So I hope anybody else who tried that had a good experience. Now, you need to come out of this and change mode. So you need a very gentle forward bend. So you carefully work around the animals and can take one of those dog poses, easy, half uttanasana, half dog pose. And if you're feeling sparkier, you could just do regular dog pose, but make it long. If the shoulders will do this. Take a slightly longer than average dog pose. The purpose being to feel that space coming back into the lumbars. If anything went away, get it back. Keep the arms active, keep the shoulder girdle on the back of you. Then come out. Okay. Then let's see. Let's take a twist. Now, again, if your back pelvis is bony, or back of the hips are bony, you might put a blanket down. But if the sticky mat is sufficient, that'll be great. We're going to do a bent knee, Jatara Parivartanasana. So if you see me, from the head side. My knees come up. And don't be aggressive in pulling the knees up. Keep your low back quiet. Keep this time, Kay and everybody, keep the legs together. Ankles, shins, knees. Sometimes that's not easy. So you could take a blanket, sort of fan folded, and you hold it just between your ankles to knees. This somehow kind of softens the need for a grip. And you will turn first legs left. And as the legs go left, this sternum, from the base of the sternum, stays right, that way. So my knees go left, and that sternum, it gets dragged a bit left, but I can feel this shoulder blade section of the rib cage staying on the floor. Now, if you see my knees, they're not together. I've got to finish, so you must move from the hip to the knee to make those knees join. Then you come up. Then you change sides. Keep the sternum as the legs go to the right. Keep the sternum and those shoulder blades staying on the floor. Now that blanket should also brace you to the ankles, so the shins stay parallel. You don't have the knees wider than the feet. Okay, spend a few moments here. Keep the knees flexed, the hips flexed, knees flexed. So those knees are, if your arm is stretched out to the side, those knees are near the elbow. Come up. Go the other way again. So the stiffer you are in the hips and the spine, the more welcome that blanket will be. Keep the knees tucked, as if you want to keep your knees, have them land touching your arm. Tuck them up, flex the hips. Take those knees down. Let the knees land before the feet land. Keep the shoulder blades on the floor. And as the breathing progresses, move that top hip so the knees stay together. This keeps your sacrum and your low back safe. Come up now. Be at rest for a second. Are you okay? Did anybody have trouble doing that? Okay, that was good. All right. So in that case, somebody's repeating. Okay, great. Repeat. Draw your knees up. Roll. Go left first, so your trunk relatively is rolling right. Doesn't matter. All of you are rolling knees right. Take your first side. Make it right. Roll your rib cage in the opposite direction, and then lengthen that spine. Keep the knees drawn up. This keeps the low back safe. And turn, keeping the shins, knees together. That too keeps the pelvis and spine safe. breathe, finding that sort of roll, counter roll. And come out. Inhaling helps. Get in the middle. Don't let yourself be twisted. And last side. Hips nicely flexed. That top hip is staying as well as it can with the bottom leg, not getting askew. It isn't just your big toes that have to stay together. It's also ankles, knees, hips. Inhale, come up. And rest your feet. Now, it just be like that for a second. Then stretch your legs straight, stretch your arms overhead, go full length for a moment. And then you need to do a version of Viparita Karani, which would have you take a blanket, here's a striped blanket, and I'm folding it in half across its stripes so it becomes kind of like a square oblong. Square-ish. So you take that and you put it up against a wall and you move the cat. And this squarish blanket goes right up to the wall. So it has some depth to it. What is the importance of this depth? Remember that belt line that went right around the base of the sternum to the base of the shoulder blade in back. Okay. This edge should go in the neighborhood of that line. So if your blanket is a small one, do you see the difference in size between these two blankets? There's some inches of distance. This is fine, but you may need to move that blanket away from the wall to get the proper place. Just watch. Here, I'll go with this one. I hope you can see one that's a bit too small, just so you see how it's adapted. I've moved it, look, away from the wall. And it goes right to that place. If you're looking close, you'll see it's not underneath my tailbone. This is fine. Okay. If you have a full-size blanket, it'll go all the way to the wall and it'll be underneath that sternum. So Vidya, if you, instead of folding your blankets, oh, I see them, but you don't want them even like folded like this. You do want that as deep a blanket. You want that depth. Open it, open it. Oh, wait. Okay, it's because the sound delay. Just make your support long enough to support this. Don't make it longer. Don't make it longer. Keep it the right distance so your shoulders can get to the floor. Gay, are your feet slightly left of center? Or is it the camera?
Is that better?
Yes, looks better to me. What do you see?
I'm always crooked, but it's for me straight, but I'm always crooked. So I believe you.
Okay. Buttocks as close to the wall as you can get them, so the legs are well supported. Feel free to strap the thighs together. That sometimes helps them relax more. Keep that chest lifting, throat soft, abdomen soft. That whole length of the torso that is supported by the blanket should feel level and quiet and tranquil. The rib cage, as it makes that tiny little coil off the end of that one blanket, nevertheless gets opened. So be gentle but observant of that opening, that membrane between the abdomen and the chest, the diaphragm. Focus your senses there. Sense of hearing, sense of touch, and the visual sense. As if your eyes were located in the center of the chest. And you were looking down onto the top of that diaphragm. Sometimes it's easier to put the eyes in the abdomen below the diaphragm, looking up at it. Find a place where your visual sense can see what your sense of touch and your sense of hearing are telling you. Which fibers are spreading, which fibers are reluctant. Look at the left side, right side, front side, spine side of that diaphragm as you breathe. examine the circumference. Yes, certainly you can change your leg position. Certainly. Fold your legs, bend your knees. If there is discomfort, the diaphragm reflects it. So relieve discomfort. Now, everybody slowly come out. You could roll out, you could slide back flat, but in any case, come out and lie flat. Bundle up if need be. Yes, it gets cold. We had snow. And a power outage. Shavasana. Same quiet listening. So this yoga practice is to reduce, relieve the turbulence of the flow of consciousness. Definition of yoga is the stopping of the fluctuations of mind. But that is kind of an end goal. In the process, we have to make that consciousness smooth and unturbulent. Okay. It is time. So I say that because about the turbulence, because beginning to listen to that sound of the breath is a very easy way to sort of attach your nervous system to something that is not turbulent and that can help lead the mind toward less turbulence. It's like the very first technique is listen to this breath, follow the breath. So, okay. End of class. Namaskar. Don't have to get up. No hurry.
Excellent, excellent.